These are creepy and interesting TikTok videos that will make you think the whole day. Let us watch.
I would consider all the protections that Congress put in place. And as I said earlier, during this hearing, the question would be figuring out whether Congress, assuming that the mandate is unconstitutional now, whether that, consistent with your intent, this is Congress's law, would permit this act to stand, or whether the flawed portion of it could just be excised out. And that is a question not of what judges want. It's not a question of the Supreme Court. It's a question of what Congress wanted in the statute. And that is the statute, that you enacted and extended this healthcare coverage to millions of Americans.
Muffin. Family, the way her eyes and her pupil is dilating, changing into the form of like a reptile, personally makes it so tough for you to ignore.
Man was actually a serial killer. The Muffin Man is probably one of the most well-known nursery rhymes, but did you know it was based on a real story? A real dark story. In the 1800s, a man by the name of Frederick Thomas Linwood would wait in alleyways to kidnap and kill kids, luring them in with muffins. The song was later created to spread awareness amongst the kids and keep them safe, warning them about the Muffin Man, who was a danger on Drury Lane. Even though he was the first ever documented serial killer in the world, everyone still teaches the song to their kids, because not a lot of people know that.
Why is no one talking about this #1 trending TV show in America right now, bro? Now, first I just need y'all to just peep this shit real quick. Just look at the cover art. Just look at the subliminals, right? The Chosen One. Based on American Jesus, right? So let's look up American Jesus. This is one of the first things I seen. Then I seen this one. But you know what this made me think about, bro? American Horror Story. Specifically this season, though. And him. But we about to watch this trailer real quick. Just pay attention real quick.
Estaba esperando. People are always going to be looking for us. Just trying to keep you safe.
Now listen, bro. The TV show is basically stating that Jesus Christ had came back again in 1990, right? With godlike powers and shit, right? Bro. They be telling us this shit in plain sight, bro. But if you know about biblical stuff and all that, bro, we all know that anyone that represents the powers of like Yeshua or AKA Jesus is supposed to be the Antichrist, bro. Just look at the background, cousin. And you see that it says based on American Jesus trilogy. Bro, what does that look like to y'all, bro? That looks like the Antichrist taking over the White House, bro. You gotta really wake up!
Guys, I've not yet watched the movie, but if you have, can you comment on the section? Let me have an idea. Is the movie interesting? If it does, so I can also download and watch.
Brain is about to melt. I'm going to show you a deep spiritual esoteric lesson that you've never been taught. I'm listening to this with an open mind. It's crazy. So you see this pine cone? Guess where that's at? That's the Vatican. If you don't know what the Vatican is, that's where the Pope does his thing. I could go into the Pope all day. That's a whole different story. But what does this pine cone represent? Have you heard of the pineal gland? Well, it's located up in your brain, and it's also known as your third eye chakra. And if you watch my other videos, which I hope that you do, what I'm helping you do is detoxify your body so you can create that spiritual connection. There's a calcified pineal gland, which things like tap water leads to. Fluoride will do that. A healthy one is like an open pine cone. It's our connection to the divine, and it's referred to in the Bible. Your spine is Jacob's ladder. What do you think?
In this world that we live in, there's two main motivating forces, and I tweet about it all the time. It's love or fear. You can't explain love. You know, my cousin is locked up for murder, and I love him. And so he did a bad thing, but I still love him. Here's the idea why you're in a simulation. Let's start with acting, first of all. When a 2-year-old screams at a restaurant, the entire restaurant screams. Teach that kid how to act. We're all unpaid actors in some giant script that we didn't write. Simulation, a 2-year-old jumps on a coffee table and someone says, that's a coffee table, don't jump on that. So it went from being something that makes him feel like Superman, he's got his cape on. He's 2 years old, he doesn't give about a coffee or a table. And he's starting to like calculate all these things. And by the time you're 40 years old, you've got a wall full of coffee tables calculating you into traffic, calculating you into your career choice. You know, that's the simulation that I'm talking. That's what I mean when I say simulation.
Guys, I believe he has really exposed the matrix right there in simple terms.
Get your ass in here. Sit down. Now, I follow this guy on TikTok. And his TikTok name is Reptilian Shapeshift. And if I'm not mistaken, the story is basically the military did something to him or some sort of corporation. But that's neither here nor there. Do you see his eye? Just in case you need a better look, that's his eye. But his eyes don't always look like this. He can change them at will. He also has a bunch of other growths coming out on his hands, his elbows. It's like his joints are morphing. Now, I'm not going to hold you. I did not believe this at first. But today, I was watching this video I'm getting ready to play you. And I slowed it down to 0.5 speed. And there's no way he's doing this. There's just no way. Roll the footage.
What's going on with my body? You guys wanted to know an update. Look, first of all, if you guys haven't seen stuff like, for example, my elbows, look at this shit. Hold on 1 second. It's not just my elbows that are changing. Look, we got forearm stuff now. I don't know if I can. It pops out pretty far. My eyes, look, if I go totally in, you guys can see, look,
Wait
normal
for
eyes, right? And I'm not doing it, but when you toggle it, people are like, hey, wait, first of all, so that you can see there's no, like, I don't know, contact or anything in there. Do you see? Nothing. No, but if I move it to the side, watch. Do you guys see that?
Guys, it's changed. Wow.
It's crazy, right?
Yeah, it's crazy.
I know it's been going on for a while. If you guys haven't seen the rest of the updates on my page.
I know, right? That's some freaky shit. I advise you, in fact, I urge you to go and check out his page and just spend some time on it. I don't know. I know people like to get those body modification things going on. Could have had something put up under the skin. But I can't understand how he would fake the eye thing.
Yeah.
I don't even see the film. I mean, the pupils just change. I don't know. But I did hear that they will be walking amongst us. So they might be here. I don't know. You decide. I get your ass up out of here.
Hey, the Bible says there is a time for peace and a time for war. If you can discern the times and if you know the Bible, then you know that this is not the time of peace. This is the time of war. So to any foreign nation, anybody that stands against the peace and sovereignty and prosperity of the people, you will have more problems than a math book can hold. You will have more issues than your local newspaper network. I'm trying to get you to understand. The people here over in America, aka Babylon, are not going to go down without a fight. This goes for any nation. Now, a lot of the countries that are already here, one of these days, any second, they're called sleeper cells. They will be activated and they will start to kill and harm a lot of people. But guess what? You may get a few. But once people that see what's going on, people who have courage from the Lord, people who are honorable in the Lord, they're going to stand and defend their fellow man. They're not just going to sit down and be a poo butt and say, no. They're going to get some Sweet Baby Ray barbecue sauce and some cinnamon buns, and they're going to get busy with you. Now, I'm not one to sit back and let somebody be harmed. I also have the courage, and I also am a man of God, and I also will stand up for my fellow man and woman and children. We have to come together on a spiritual level within the Bible, within what God has us to do. That is the only unification is in the Lord, okay? There is no difference between Jew and Gentile simply because the body of Christ is a house, okay? The Gentiles that are grafted in, according to Romans chapter 11, are considered Israel. Why? It's because when you join to something, that is something you're known as. Example, when a woman gets married to a man, she is not known as herself anymore. She is known as him. One name, one body, one flesh. So the people here in America, like I said, there won't be unity on a massive scale, but there will be unity on a spiritual scale. Okay? Those who know. What's overstood don't have to be explained. So get yourself together, because something huge is getting ready to come, and something monolithic is getting ready to pop off somewhere in America. And I pray for wherever it is, the people have the courage and the strength to stand up and fight for each other. Because regardless of where you at, I'm rooting for you. Whether you're in Montana, Texas, Chicago, New York, Massachusetts, Florida, California, you get the point. So stand together, really consider your own ways, consider what's in your heart, and let God do the rest. Take care.
In this video, this guy explains a few facts about the United Nations Plaza. Make sure you watch this to the end and let me know what you think in the comments below.
Did you know if you go to Google and type in 666 United Nations Plaza, it takes you to an interesting place. It puts you on the corner of this plaza looking at the United Nations World Headquarters and their General Assembly building. Now, out front, there is this beast, okay, bear with me, with its feet look like that of a bear, its teeth could be that of a lion, and its head is that of a leopard. According to the Bible, that's exactly what they described as a thing that God had to fight against, this beast, okay? Then, standing out front of this building, if you face it, you're met with this beautiful, extremely creative looking architecture here. Just uncanny, the beauty of there. But then if you go inside, you get to look at this, what looks to be an all-seeing eye with the United Nations logo. The United Nations logo also has 33 parallels to it, which, 33 is one of their lucky numbers, I guess. You got 33 degrees of Freemasonry. Also, some of these biblical connections are very interesting. You have the United Nations base on top of Mount Hermon in the Middle East. Mount Hermon is said to be the place where the washer class of fallen angels descended to earth. This is in the Bible. Also, you could spend a long time looking at the mural inside of the United Nations World Headquarters or their assembly building. And there's some reptiles down here and some other strange symbolism. Stay tuned for more interesting videos about connections with street addresses and ancient times and big gigantic organizations who are in it for your best interest.
Guys, I believe that UN is part of that system that controls this world when it comes to the issue of the Antichrist. Based on so many biblical prophecies and so many exposures, it tells us that the UN will back the Antichrist or back the 666. That is what I've read, and let us hope it's not family. But let me know your idea on this because it's very important.
Remember, everything is reverse, okay? Statue of Liberty. Actually, stature. Giants are men of renown, men of stature, all right? It's not the Statue of Liberty, it's the statue of bondage. Isaiah 14:16, they that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that did shake kingdoms? Magical kingdom? Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man. And his number is 603 score and 6. All right, Satan he's got mortal flesh just like us. Okay, he's able to He's able to transform himself into an angel of light.
Can you concretely define what you mean by wokeness?
Yeah, so I think that progressives, through a lot of arguments surrounding, have you ever heard of the paradox of tolerance?
If you're too tolerant of intolerance, you're going to create a society like Nazi Germany because you're going to let it be overrun by people who would take advantage of that.
Exactly. That through that argument of the paradox of tolerance, progressives have essentially created the system that allows them to get rid of all dissenting opinion, because the dissenting opinions themselves represent like a threat to discourse or democracy or woke values or whatever.
This lady just blew my mind with this video I'm about to play for y'all. I love her for making it, but when you watch it, you gotta keep these three things in mind. Look, number one, religious people say that God is up above in the sky, right? Keep that in mind. Number two, before religion came into play, every single civilization on our planet worshiped the sun as God. They wrote that the sun is the physical manifestation of God in this realm. Keep that in mind. Number three, right now, if you go look up images of Jesus, in most of the pictures, he's gonna have the sun in the background. Majority of the time, it's right behind his head.
Hey, babies, I'm back with a quick one right now. Mama got some shit I need to do today, but I want to talk to y'all something about this Sunday. A lot of y'all dressing up, putting your wigs on, and putting on your best Sunday outfits, and you're going into these houses of worship, and you're worshiping God today, called the Son of God. You know, there was a time they used to call us the people of the sun. Then they said we were sun worshipers back in the day. But we wasn't worshiping no sun. You done took the U, capped it off and put an O, and now you got us all worshiping your son. You know, back in the day, they told us that the body was the temple. That's your church, and God live in you. But now they want you to worship some God outside yourself, living up in the sky, sitting on the throne with a bunch of naked babies around it. Y'all seen them pictures? They drew a God up there with all them babies with no clothes on, with no mama around. Makes you wonder. But let me ask you something, baby. Let me tell you, as long as you don't think God live in you and live outside you, they gonna harness all your spiritual power, baby. Them churches are harnessing sinners to pull all your energy in. And your pastors and your priests, they all went to them schools of theology, supposed to be. Well, who taught them about God? Did they look like them? Who wrote the curriculum about all these organized religions that they force-fed everybody? Got you bowing down to their symbols and their holidays, a lot of certain star systems and things. It's all spell work, baby. Do I believe the Bible? I believe there's a lot of truth in that book, but also some of us old girls know that book was used for a lot of spell casting, full of astrology and numerology with your 12s and your 3s and your 6s and your 7s. Mama gonna give you some breadcrumbs, but it's up for you babies to go ahead and do the homework. But I'm gonna ask you a question, all of y'all rocking your symbols of executions around your neck. Yeah. Because when Jesus was hanging on that cross, they had a bow to the left of him and to the right of him. Both way, they was killing people that way. Symbol of executions. Let me ask you something. They would have killed that boy by hanging him. Would you all be wearing nooses around your neck? Makes you wonder.
Man, shout
This is serious, family.
out to Mama T. You gotta go check her page out. She has amazing content. And let her know Moses sent you.
Guys, this is so serious. Let us wake up. Let us wake up. Family, there's a system that is keeping us hooked. You know, there's a system that is keeping us in this kind of religious system to control us. Let us wake up, guys, because what she's saying has a lot, really has a lot to reveal.
I want to start this video by explaining that I'm 36, I'm a millennial, I've seen a lot of things. I remember where I was on 9/11. I remember how absurd it was when we went to war with Iraq, a country with no affiliation to the hijackers. I remember the housing bubble. I watched Occupy Wall Street religiously. The reason TikTok is such a threat has nothing to do with Meta. It has nothing to do with China spying on us. What it has to do with is unity. The system, religion, politics, corporations, Wall Street, Big Pharma, you name it, it has a stake in your division. When we don't trust each other, we are forced to trust them. This is not a cabal. It's an organism. We said it back in 2008, so I'm gonna reiterate.
Okay.
We're the 99%. The 1% is scared shitless. They didn't plan their digital currency well. Their infrastructure is crumbling. Their digital infrastructure is a mess. Their layers upon layers of greed are finally catching up to them. The entire lot. They are all eating each other. And we are simply in the crossfire. If TikTok gets banned, I implore you to immediately delete your personal Instagram, your personal Facebook, and any other personal social media you feel has wronged you for the last time. We are nothing divided. A grain of sand in an endless sea of 30-second blips. But together, 100 million people, at least in the US, just in the US, is a wave of change. If not for you, then to show younger generations that we millennials, Gen X, whatever else you can think of, we still got it. Because the fact is, they simply never had Facebook to begin with. Peace be with you.
So family, it's very important to understand that unity plays a very big role in the things we do. Let us remember, this metrics that we find ourselves in, if we are united, that metrics will never work. It will be broken, right? So they want to keep us divided and also keep us, alone, that is distinct to each other. And this way, they can easily manipulate us. Let us remember the system in the forest, right? The lion is able to attack a prey that is alone, right? But if they are as a team, they can't attack unless they chase the herd and one of the animals moves from the herd. That is where they attack it. And this is how the system works, family. That is my idea. But if we are united, it is very hard to influence or to control.
Waking up and realizing, bro, we living in a cyberpunk world. Technology, I'm telling you, technology is our demise, okay? Technology is what's ruining humanity. I keep telling y'all, nothing is natural no more. Look around, man, ain't shit natural no more. Our weather ain't even natural. We don't know if the shit fake or real. It be sometimes I even come outside and see the moon. The moon look like it's motherfucking falling down. Like the shit be so close and clear, I can even see the gray little spots on the moon. I ain't never seen the moon that damn clear. I think these niggas messing with the moon. They already trying to fuck with the sun because they reptiles, and y'all know reptiles can't live in heat, so they gotta make the world colder so they can survive. And like, bro, I'm telling y'all, this is real shit, man. We not dealing with regular human beings. These are reptiles.
This is gonna.
Let's wake up, family. There's a need for stay woke. It's very important.
Blow your mind. As an ICU nurse, I've seen death a lot. I've seen it happen in every way imaginable. I've seen it happen out of absolutely nowhere. I've seen it coming from a mile away. But one thing that all of these patients have in common is insane. When someone dies, every single time, that person will start to talk to people in the room that we don't see. It is a commonly known, openly discussed fact among all healthcare workers. Your patient will be fine, and then all of a sudden, they're talking to the ghost in the corner. That's how you can see it coming from a mile away. Or they're talking to their mother who has been dead for 20 years. Literally every single time, without fail. Reading dozens and dozens and dozens of books on spirituality has definitely taught me a lot about this process. Like, did you know when you die, a spirit comes to help prepare you for that? It's usually a spirit who is somebody that you know, somebody who's already passed away, so it's familiar and you trust it. That spirit will either help prepare you in your sleep when your death is impending, or they'll just be there to greet you when your soul leaves your body. I've seen it all, and now I can tie it together with spirituality. There is so much more I could talk about in this topic. What do you guys want to know? Drop your questions in the comments. I'll tell you anything.
I believe those of us that don't believe in spiritism, I think this video really might answer our question. I believe spirit exists. I believe that when one is about to pass on, that is to die, there's that kind of exchange of spirits, right? You see some spirits before one passes on. I believe she really confirms the whole concept.
Do you know why he called himself the artist when he came back? He calls himself the artist because that's what they call us in our contracts. Oh, these contracts are crazy. You should hear the terminology they say in these contracts. To use your name and likeness in perpetuity throughout the universe. Who the could possibly know what that means? Nobody does. It's so complicated, in fact, that when you're a kid like me, you have to hire somebody to tell you what that means. And you sit down at a table and you do the contract game. And that's how I got with Comedy Central. The way that a 28-year-old expectant father that was broke signs a contract. I was desperate. I needed a way out. And it wasn't good money and it wasn't good circumstances. But what else am I going to do, I said. And all these white people sitting at that table told me, trust us, Dave, it's a good contract. And I looked around the table and they all seemed to agree it was a good contract. But what if it was like that game of 3-card Monte? What if they were all friends and I didn't know it? People think I made a lot of money for Chappelle's show. When I left that show, I never got paid. They didn't have to pay me because I signed the contract. But is that right? They just took it. And I'm not up here trying to tell you guys that I believe that Comedy Central gave me a raw deal just because I'm black. I believe that they gave me a raw deal because this fucking industry is a monster. It's the same monster that these Me Too bitches was trying to tell you about. But they hate the monster for how it fucks. And I hate that monster for how it eats. But my God, man, it's the same monster. When I quit the show, all my friends would say, well, damn, Dave, why don't you just do Chappelle's show at another network? Yeah. And why doesn't a slave run from one plantation to another plantation because the master over there might be nice? My God, man, I was trapped. You know what? Tell you the truth. I've even thought about coming back and doing another Chappelle show. Well, but if I do, I can't call it Chappelle's show because my name and likeness is being used by them in perpetuity throughout the universe.
Whoa, family. I don't know how some of you or all of you watch this video, but he has just exposed everything. It seems like he's trying to, joke around the fact, but he has exposed the industry. He has exposed the music industry. He has exposed the Freemasons and their contracts. This is very creepy, family. This is very creepy. And this is the sad scene behind the scene when artists sit down and sign contracts. When you sign contracts, you sign your will, you sign your soul to that industry, and you can see the pain in his eyes, as though he's saying in a jovial way, but he's really making sense right there.
Why does the Pope worship a black God? This video is for all the people out there who think God is not black. I always wonder why this pops up when you search Jesus on Google. It shows a white man. But in your Bible, it clearly says that he's black. But your Pope literally bows down and prays to a black God. And that's because he knows the truth. He's a very evil person. He does very weird things, but he knows the truth. They're not stupid. Like, just watch this. I see that right there. Pictures of him bowing down and kissing the feet of black men. Which I think we're crazy when we come on this app and say we're non-ether beings. We're not humans. We're gods. People dehumanized us for so long and told us we weren't even human. Ever since I had my awakening, I completely agree. We're not. We're gods and goddesses, and that's the reason we've been oppressed so heavily. I worship a book that's about black people, but was written by white people. Instead of finding the true religion we have for thousands of years, y'all say it's demonic.
Everything we've ever been told is a lie, so here's the most truth you've ever heard in one video. The rapture already happened, sex was a sin in the garden, Jesus Christ already returned, the law was the mark of the beast, Israel was the beast, Jerusalem was mystery Babylon, Christianity ended in 70 AD, today's Christianity is fake. The man of sin and false prophet were Jewish zealot leaders in the 1st century, the 2 witnesses were the spirits of John and Daniel. The Euphrates dried up in the 1st century, we don't need rivers to dry today, we have jets. The 1,000-year reign only lasted for 42 months, there's no third temple in scripture. The Bible was written to the people it was addressed to, it's not for us. Hell only lasted for 40 years. New Jerusalem is in heaven, not on earth. Jesus ended sin, not evil. Jesus ended the grave, not death. They fled Judea, not the whole world. There is no destruction of the entire planet. When we die, we'll be a ghost. We can go to heaven or the lake of fire. Gentiles never had the law. We should not have 2.4 billion Gentiles reading the law and the prophets and going back to everything that Jesus Christ fulfilled and rejecting Jesus. Today's Christianity got here through war, tyranny, and genocide. Jesus' kingdom was not of this world, yet the Christians own the kingdom of this world. That's why their presidents swear on the Bible. Jesus Christ finished his work and received a new name that nobody knows. He defeated Satan. We should worship God today and not Jesus. Give me a follow. I have videos explaining all these things.
You need to play this again. You have to take your time because he has said a lot in some few seconds. There's a lot that we need to think about. There's a lot we need to dive deep into this. I believe there's a lot of bullshit there, but there's also a fact right there, family. He said a lot in just a minute and some seconds.
Let's listen to what the CIA agent have to say about tips on being a spy. I think you're gonna want to listen.
What is the one spy trick you would
Listen.
teach everyone that they can use to improve their life instantly? Now, you already mentioned quite a few, but what else could jump to mind?
My go-to answer for this has not really changed much over the last few years. So the most important spy trick to change everything immediately is something called perception versus perspective. We all look at the world through our own perception. My dad used to tell me, my stepdad used to tell me that perception is reality. And I was arguing this with him when I was 14 years old. I told you so, Dad, you're still wrong.
Yeah.
But perception is your interpretation of the world around you, but it's unique only to you. There's no advantage in your perception. That's why so many people find themselves arguing all the time, trying to convince other people of their own perception.
Yeah.
The way that you win any argument, the way that you get ahead in your career, the way that you outsell or outrace anybody is when you move off of perception and move into perspective. Perspective is the act or the art of observing the world from outside of yourself. Whether that's outside of yourself as like an entity just observing in a third from a different point of view, or even more powerful, you sit in the shoes, you sit in the seat of the person opposite you, and you think to yourself, what is their life like? What do they feel right now? Are they comfortable? Are they uncomfortable? Are they afraid? Are they scared? What's the stressor that they woke up to this morning? What's the stressor that they're going to go to sleep with tonight? When you shift places and get out of your own perception and into someone else's perspective, now you're thinking like them, which is giving you an informational advantage. But you know what they're all doing? Everyone else out there is trapped in their own perception, not thinking about a different perspective. So immediately you have superior information, superior positioning. You have an advantage that they don't have. And if you do that to your boss, it's going to change your career. If you do that to your spouse, it's going to change your marriage. If you do that to your kids, it's going to change your family legacy. Because nobody else out there is doing it.
007 agents out there, leave a message in the comments, like or follow for more wisdom, and stay tuned.
Women in this country still...
Wow, family, the man has really said a lot. So moving from just your perception to perspective is really a key here, because so many of us are stuck with our perception. That is why we are so stuck at where we are. You know, that's why we always argue based on our perspective. And at times, funny enough, your perspective can be wrong. But see, as allow what is said, when you move from your idea, right, and you feel or you stand in the shoes of others, it will help you understand a lot. And I believe what is said is really important.
Make 77 cents on the dollar for what men make. So if women don't make less than men?
Actually, if you start looking at the numbers, Rachel, there are lots of reasons for that.
Oh, wait.
Well,
Don't tell
first
me
of
the
all,
reasons are. Do women make less than men for doing the same work?
No, because...
Wow. Okay.
Well, for example, men work an average of 44 hours a week. Women work 41 hours a week. Men go into professions like engineering, science, and math that earn more. Women want more flexible
Listen, this is not a math is hard.
No. Yes, it is, actually.
No, it isn't.
Well, you have to
listen.
All
right, let Rachel frame it, though, the way she
Right now,
laid it out.
women are making 77 cents on the dollar for what men are making.
But that's not true. If so,
let Rachel make her point.
Every greedy businessman in America would hire only women, save 25%. And I love how passionate you are. I wish you were as right about what you're saying as you are passionate about it. I really do. For example, may I share one fact with you? When you look at, for example, single women working in America today between the ages of, I think, 40 and 64, who makes more, men or women, on average? Men make $40,000 a year. Women make 47. When you take out the marriage factor, look at some economics. My point here is that we're manufacturing a political crisis.
So Chila's family, we can argue this for years, for months, for days. And you see, my idea is that women make more money than men. The long while, women are making money than men. But let me know your idea and your thoughts at the comment section. Are men making money than women? Or women are rather making money than men? Let me know your thoughts, family.
Suffered from a wildfire a couple of days ago, right? Everyone technically lost their homes, cars, everything. But somebody took a video that was very questionable. And I'm going to play it right now. And you guys let me know what you think about this.
¿Será verdad la teoría de la Casa Azul?
Now look, I'm not one to believe in coincidences, right? I believe everything happens by design. How many coincidences until it's mathematically impossible? Do you get what I'm saying? So I don't know, guys. Like, this is a very interesting occurrence. The house was barely touched, okay? Everything around it, demolished, burnt to ashes. But somehow it managed to stand still. Now, I'm sure some of you remember this video, right? I'm not gonna go into it too much. It's pretty self-explanatory. But I want you guys to comment and let me know what you think about this, because I don't know how many people seen that video, but yeah, that's a strange coincidence, if you know what I'm saying. So let me know what you guys think about this, because yeah, I need to hear some opinions.
Okay, let's talk about being woke. The word woke means being aware of social and political issues, particularly around oppression and inequality, usually relating to race and gender, and actively working towards leveling the playing field, okay? It requires a sense of self-awareness, which means you have to think for yourself. It requires empathy toward others, as well as the ability to critically analyze societal structures and systems that oppress, okay, which are right there for all of us to see when we choose to open our eyes and turn away from those who lie to us for their own personal gain. Being woke is being able to walk in another's shoes, okay, to feel their pain, to try to understand their struggles, and to give enough of a shit to want to help them overcome. Basically, being woke is being a good human. Jesus said, "Love each other as I have loved you." Woke. Muhammad said, "A Muslim is a brother of another Muslim." Woke. And Buddha said, let one cultivate a boundless love toward all beings. Woke. Get it?
Whoever. But yet, family, to stay woke, it means you have to read a lot. If you want to stay woke, you have to keep on reading, because it's in research that is where your eyes should be open. Family.
Whoever invented the jumping tank was really a genius. This was designed by the Wallace Company during World War II. Strictly speaking, it is no longer a tank. Rather, it is a movable bunker. It is equipped with 6 barrels, can attack 360 degrees without blind spots. It doesn't have tracks like a tank. There is also no need to rotate the turret to aim. The only way to move is to use the supporting legs below to bounce and walk. It has almost no weak points of armor. It can also jump to avoid attacks. It can accommodate 10 soldiers. When arriving at the destination, its supporting legs will retract into the body. At this time, it is like a defensive fortress with no blind spots cover. Each cannon can attack different targets. Its power source is a diesel engine. There is a gyroscope inside, can maintain its own balance. It uses the shock wave generated by the explosion to deploy its supporting legs. This enables jumping walking. There is a 10-degree movable range at the bottom of the support legs. In theory, it can jump in any direction. It can even pass through enemy defenses with ease. However, this seemingly perfect design did not achieve mass production because it has many fatal problems. First of all, the shock caused by jumping will cause huge damage to the soldiers inside. If it jumps in soft mud ground, the support legs are unable to pull out. It also rolls over very easily, and it can only withstand attack of light weapons. Once hit by a cannonball will cause huge damage to it, so it is not suitable for use on the battlefield. Random fact.
Oh my god, at times this video is so no.
The only way to tickle yourself is by running your tongue along the roof of your mouth. Try it. Cows can make best friends and get depressed if they are separated. Type I am and let your keyboard finish the sentence. If you enjoy the smell of gasoline, you are more likely to try drugs. An average person will spend 1 year looking for misplaced items in their lifetime. People who stay up late tend to be smarter than people who go to sleep early. Adults that can drink milk actually have a DNA mutation. We know more about space than the ocean. There are more stars in the universe than grains of sand on all the beaches on Earth. Mount Everest is still growing 1/4 of an inch every year. If you comment yummy, you will unlock a secret emoji. The oldest musical instrument is a flute dating back over 40,000 years. You can now check to see if you're being tracked on TikTok. Click share and then on more. If an unknown app pops up, delete it immediately. It's been proven following me makes you smarter every day. Interesting facts that you may not know. Diamond is not the strongest material in the world. In fact, a material stronger than diamond is called graphene. This material is so amazing that the 2 scientists who created it were awarded the 2010 Nobel Prize. To date, graphene is the strongest, thinnest, and lightest side material on the planet. It's lighter than wood, or metal many times and up to 300 times stronger than steel. To make it easier to imagine the strength of graphene, then if you put a 6.8-ton elephant standing on a pencil and put it under a tree pencil, it's a sheet of graphene with a thickness of only 1 molecule of carbon. The surprising thing is that the graphene sheet will not be punctured. Even after many experiments, it was discovered that if it is connected about 300 graphene layers together, it can completely block bullets 100%. The amazing thing is that 300 layers of graphene is very, very thin, and for you to easily imagine, a normal sheet of paper has a thickness of 1,000,000 nanometers, and 300 layers of graphene is only 100 nanometers thick, which means that although this is just a film that is 1,000 times thinner than paper, it can completely resist bullets. So it can be said that graphene is the material of the future. Hybrid.
So family, so if in the future we're able to incorporate graphene into buildings, our cars, mobile phone screens, our glasses, then I believe it will be really helpful to help, reduce this kind of glasses that tend to break easily. So in the future, I believe graphene will become as common as this normal glasses that we use. I think it's a good thing, family.
Why do you think it's gonna bubble? Because it bubbles when you put it on blood. No, it bubbles when you put it on your eyes. Ah, shit, that's cold. No. Yeah, it came out. I told you. What came out? It's a fucking spider. Oh, shit. Yeah, it's a spider. Oh my god.
This is creepy,
I
guys.
told you that would come out.
Oh. Guys, really, it is so creepy the way the spider came from the man's ears. I think when they poured that liquid in it, it had to leave or move from the ear. It is really creepy, guys.
Atoms are mind-bogglingly tiny, and it's nearly impossible to wrap your brain around their scale, but I dare you to try. Back in 2013, IBM made the world's smallest animation using literal atoms, but let's first get an idea of exactly how small they are. Okay, go like this. For scale, the side profile thickness of your finger is about 1 centimeter, for all the people out there still using the imperial measurement system for some reason. Unless you got some big-ass fingers, then tough luck or use something else. Let's start with a Cheerio, measuring about 0.5 centimeter in height. Zooming into a grain of salt, about 0.3 millimeters, and there's 10 millimeters in a centimeter. Scaling down to a bacteria between 1 to 10 micrometers, and there's 10,000 micrometers in a centimeter. Here we got a virus at around 20 to 300 nanometers, and there's 10 million nanometers in a centimeter. Side note, the difference between bacteria and a virus are that bacteria are free-living cells that can live outside the body, while viruses are a collection of molecules that need a host to survive. Now we're right down to a strand of DNA with a diameter of about 2 nanometers. You still following that finger scale? Finally, we got the atom, which is anywhere between 0.5 to 5 angstroms, and there's 100 million angstroms in a centimeter. This model isn't even accurate. If we brought it to scale, we wouldn't even be able to see the neutrons and protons in the center. Same with the electrons, and they're even smaller. When we fit everything to scale, we find out that an atom is actually 99.9999999% empty space. What? With the volume of the nucleus, that's the protons and neutrons in the center, being 1 quadrillion times smaller than the entire atom. So everything, all matter in the universe, including the phone in your hand and even you, is mostly empty space. If you were to remove the empty space of every atom in every human in the world, we'd be able to fit all 8 billion people in the world inside of a sugar cube. And yes, this is 100% true to all you, oh, this is false information people out there. Here's a really smart Redditor proving it with math. And here's that world's smallest animation IBM made using only atoms, called A Boy and His Atom. It was made by moving carbon monoxide molecules with something called a scanning tunneling microscope, which used an ultrafine metal tip to move the molecules with electric charges. Pretty basic, I know. It goes on for about a minute, but you get the gist of it.
Here are 8. It is so amazing how we are being made, by God. God is really creative. Seeing this amazing makeup of a man and this amazing universe of ours really speaks a lot. Let us appreciate ourselves, appreciate this universe that we find ourselves in.
Surprising and interesting facts about Mount Everest. Number 1. Over 5,000 climbers have successfully reached the summit of Mount Everest, including a 13-year-old, a blind person, and a 73-year-old woman. Number 2. There are approximately 200 corpses on Mount Everest, now serving as landmarks pointing towards the summit. Number 3. The success rate of summiting has doubled in the last 30 years, going from 3% to 6%. Number 4. However, the mortality rate remains the same at around 1%. Number 5. The boiling point of water at the top of Mount Everest is 71 degrees, instead of 100 degrees at sea level. Number 6. Mount Everest grows an average of 4 millimeters each year. Number 7. Everest is the world's dirtiest mountain, with around 50 tons of waste. Number 8. Everest is the tallest mountain on Earth, but not the largest. That title goes to Mauna Kea, a volcano, as its base below sea level gives it a height of 10,210 meters.
Wow.
60 seconds of interesting geography facts. The country of Monaco is so small that it could fit into Central Park in New York City. Lake Superior contains enough water to cover North and South America in 3/4 foot of water. The Dead Sea, bordering Jordan and Israel, is the lowest point on Earth, with its shores sitting more than 400 meters below sea level. In the Philippines, there's an island called Vulcan Point, that's within a lake, on an island that's within a lake, on an island. Tokyo's population is more than the population of Australia, which is 6th largest country. The two Diomede Islands are just 2.4 kilometers apart, but have 20 hours time difference between them. The Atacama Desert in Chile is considered the driest non-polar desert on Earth, with some areas having no recorded rainfall for decades. These 4 countries constitutes almost 40% of world's population. The country of Iceland is known as the land of fire and ice because it has both glaciers and active volcanoes. If you like these facts, share with friends.
Penguins can take a shit at a speed of 5 miles per hour. Tiger piss smells like buttered popcorn. And bulls can shoot their jizz up to 50 feet. Crazy animal facts you didn't know. Let's talk about penguins. These flabby motherfuckers can shoot stink grenades at each other. They have poop force that can shoot their shit flying through the air. They have been caught lugging shit cannons at each other by scientists. Crazy, right? Get this. Armadillo farts smell the worst out of any animal in the animal kingdom. It will bring you to our knees and crying for your mommy. Frogs can pee and poo-poo at the same time, and orangutans have threesomes on a regular basis. The most out of any animal.
In my hands is one of the most destructive artifacts from human history that school probably didn't teach you about. Yep, it's called Malleus Maleficarum, or the Hammer of Witchcraft. And it's the real guide that put thousands of women to death during the witch hunts from 14 to 1700. Here are the 3 most chilling facts I learned about this, including the total death toll. The book was written to teach people how to identify a witch, hold a trial, and then cleanse those who are found guilty. But once accused, you were often guilty, and you were cleansed with fire. Fact 2. The book labels witchcraft as a female crime, stating women are more easily corrupted by the devil. Examples of witchcraft in here range from shape-shifting to everyday things like strange weather or having an argument. Fact 3. It's believed between 100,000 up to 6 million people were found guilty of witchcraft, making this book one of the most destructive artifacts in history.
Yes, family, because I've always wondered why those of the old were getting bent and women were also, there were those that were mostly affected. I don't know why in history women suffer so much. There are those that are always affected with issues. Why would someone write a book and then the book is used to, witch hunt women because they are witches and they are burnt alive? Just imagine. It is so sad.
To make you say, what the fuck? During the Iron Age in Ireland, a peculiar coronation ceremony for a new king involved him engaging in sexual activity with a horse in front of spectators. Following this, the horse would be served as a meal to all those who had just witnessed the act. In the 1400s, prostitutes used to don wigs on their private parts, complete with faux pubic hair. This was done to ward off lice and conceal any syphilis sores. In a rather audacious act, a NASA intern once pilfered a safe filled with moon rocks. He then scattered them on a hotel bed and engaged in intimate activities with his girlfriend atop them. This escapade led to him being sentenced to 8 years in federal prison. The Italian Renaissance artist Raphael, not to be confused with the Ninja Turtle, met his end due to exhaustion from incessant sexual activity. In simpler terms, he engaged in intimate relations until he died. A popular hairstyle in 17th century Europe was the Polish plait, a repugnant, odorous clump of hair matted together by pus, lice, and dirt. Despite its unappealing nature, it was believed to possess healing properties and could purportedly shield people from diseases.
The footage is from a 1915 American documentary, a true-to-life reconstruction of the assassination of U.S. President Abraham Lincoln. In that year, Abraham Lincoln was re-elected president after the end of the American Civil War. On April 14, 1865, Lincoln invited an aristocratic couple to Ford's Theater to attend an opera. Upon arriving at the theater, the crowd immediately cheered. It was a great honor for them to see the opera with the president. The presidential box was improvised by removing the partitions between two corner boxes. By coincidence, the guard who was guarding the box, he left his post and went to the nearest pub. That's why the murderer was not stopped when he entered the box. So the murderer was not prevented from entering the boxes. At the climax of the play, the audience clapped and laughed. The murderer, who had already entered the box, took advantage of the situation to shoot Abraham Lincoln in the head. The president's wife immediately screamed and attracted the attention of the others and jumped on the murderer, despite the fact that the murderer was hit in the chest by a knife. Still jumped from a height of 3.7 meters onto the stage. He broke his ankle instantly. But the audience, who were still immersed in the play, didn't know what was going on. The murderer escaped. Then the president's wife called out. She realized that Lincoln was in trouble. The scene was thrown into chaos and began to shout for the arrest of the murderer. And the people in the box immediately checked on Lincoln's injuries and carried Lincoln away from the scene to the nearest medical facility. Lincoln lived only a few hours. He died of a gunshot wound.
People are...
So where was the guard at that time? So why should the guard leave the post? Isn't this a bit coincidence, family? Can't maybe the guard was paid, or was coerced to move from the scene, leaving Lincoln just open for attack? That there are those kind of conspiracy theory on that as well, that it was a paid attack. There's an assassin that was conspirated by people in that very government.
Shocked by this footage of 1920s New York that has been colorized and upscaled by AI to truly bring it to life. This specific footage is of the Easter Parade on Fifth Avenue in 1929, just months before the Great Depression would ravage the American people. For reference, this is what a walk down modern-day Fifth Avenue looks like. The differences are quite astounding, specifically in the attire of pedestrians. Perhaps what is even more shocking than the New York footage is that of 1950s Los Angeles. This footage displays a city with an entirely different energy than that of modern-day LA, which many know for its high crime and homelessness rates. Footage like this really does make one realize all the vast changes that can happen in what is a relatively short period of time. With technology and AI advancing more rapidly than ever, do you think we are headed for a more positive future? Or were the people of the more technologically primitive eras of the 1920s and 50s happier without the headaches our modern devices can bring? No one knows what Los Angeles will look like in 2070, but with the way things are trending, it is not unthinkable to be concerned.
Insane laws that ancient Romans lived by. Think being grounded is bad? In ancient Rome, your dad could actually sell you into temporary slavery. Agree on a price, serve your time, and then it's back home as if you just had an extreme time out. Wow. And dads didn't stop at grounding you. In early Rome, dads could legally kill any family member for acting out. Struck by lightning? Congrats, you're now a divine sacrifice. Romans believed that if Jupiter, the god of the sky, zapped you, you were on his hit list. No burials allowed. Fake tears at funerals got out of control in Rome. Women were paid to weep and make the dead guy look like Mr. Popular. It got so absurd, Rome banned women from crying at funerals. And married life wasn't so simple for Roman women. To dodge becoming hubby's property, they'd hit the road for a 3-day break every year, keeping their legal independence intact.
Why did people in the Middle Ages have such long, pointy shoes? They were known as crocals and were actually a status symbol for the rich. The points on the shoe could get as long as 20 inches. It got so out of control that in 1463, King Edward IV actually passed a law limiting toe length to less than 2 inches. Some people would even tie string or gold or silver chains from the points of their shoes to their knees to prevent tripping. This medieval fashion statement did pose other risks as well, such as extreme bunions. 314 skeletons from medieval burial sites were examined. It showed that just 3% of those buried in poorer graveyards had bunions. 43% of those wealthy individuals suffered from the deformity.
Before the invention of anesthetics in the 1840s, many patients were forced to endure surgery while seated upright in an elevated chair unable to move as the surgeon's knife cut into their flesh. They were often restrained with leather straps to keep them in place, and the floor below them was covered in sawdust to absorb the blood that flowed from their wounds. Many surgeons even believed that pain was a necessary stimulant for keeping the patient alive. This is why opiates and alcohol were only used carefully and typically only administered shortly before a procedure, as the loss of consciousness was considered to be extremely dangerous. As a result, surgeons had to be quick in order to minimize their patients' suffering. One such example was Robert Liston, a surgeon operating in the first half of the 19th century who was known as the fastest knife in the West End.
These group of women.
So, family, this shows how far we've come as a family. This shows how far we've come, because when you compare, surgery in the olden times and surgery today, we've really gone far. Now thank God for modern technology. It is so easy to perform surgery, pain-free and very safe.
Were so deadly and so powerful that even the Nazis feared them and started calling them the Night Witches and were afraid to go to bed because of their raids. In fact, the Nazis hated them so much that if a German airman brought down just one Night Witch, he was automatically rewarded the Iron Cross medal. So the Night Witches were an all-female 588th Night Bomber Regiment in the Soviet Army during World War II. They were headed by this badass, Marina Raskova, who was the Soviets' version of Amelia Earhart. The irony is the 588th Regiment was supposed to have the least qualified female pilots, but they turned out to be the deadliest. And that's because these women turned their disadvantages into their strengths. So the planes that these women flew were hand-me-down relics, and they would just call them coffin with wings because they were made with plywood and canvas, and if a bullet hit it, they could possibly burst into flames. The plane's top speed was only 90 miles per hour and could only carry 2 bombs, so the women couldn't even carry parachutes because it would weigh down the plane. They also had to fly down very low, which means that the enemy could spot them, which is why they went out on their raids at night. So when these badass women came close to their targets, they would turn off their engines and glide through the night. Their planes were too small to even show up on Nazi radars. But the way that the Germans could hear them was like their planes would make a soft whooshing sound, which reminded them of a witch's broom. But by the time they heard that sound, it was too late. The ladies would drop their bombs, go back to base, strap on new bombs, and continue the cycle all throughout the night. From June 1942 to October 1945, these brave women flew 23,672 combat sorties and dropped over 23,000 tons of bombs on Nazi targets. They basically stopped the Nazis from sleeping throughout the night, which drained German morale. The Germans started calling them night witches. It was supposed to be a derogatory term, but like all the cards that they were dealt with, these women took that disadvantage into their strength. And that's why.
Crazy.
So I believe family history, we are so grateful for them for helping in the fight. Women are not as weak as some men think they are. Women are also powerful.
History facts that will blow your mind. Part 2. The shortest war in history occurred between British and Zanzibar Sultanate on the 27th of August, 1896. It lasted for approximately 38 minutes. The conflict ended with Zanzibar surrender. In the 19th century, a man named Phineas Gage survived a horrific accident where a large iron rod was driven through his skull, damaging his brain's frontal lobe. Surprisingly, Gage was still able to walk and talk. In 1902, a volcanic eruption on the Caribbean island of Martinique wiped out the entire city of Saint Pierre, killing around 30,000 people within minutes. In 1587, a colony at Roanoke Island mysteriously disappeared. The entire settlement vanished without a trace, leaving behind only the word Croatoan carved into a tree, which has puzzled historians for centuries.
Oh. This is my cat's hair. What is that thing in the skin?
Oh yeah, close it. Oh shit, open it.
That's creepy, guys. That was from the. Oh my god. Is there a frog? And what is she doing?
Racist
Wow, guys, these are really creepy videos. Now remember, guys, I'm making this video very late in the night, and at times these videos gives me the creeps, guys.
phrases you're still using. Long time no see. Originally printed in an article to represent the broken English of Native American speakers. How mumbo jumbo. The Mandinka word mama jumbo was transcribed by a white dude in a book to mumbo jumbo. It was later applied to anything that was confusing. No can do. A jab at Chinese immigrants who didn't speak English well. Cakewalk. In the South, slaves dress it up on Sundays and perform dances to mock their white owners. The white people didn't know they were the butt of the joke. Go figure. So they gave the slaves cake as a reward. Tipping point. Originally used to describe the amount of non-white neighbors it took to make white people flee an area. It's getting a bit too urban here, Wyatt.
How to survive in the Middle Ages. Find the closest church and explain that you're a traveler from a distant land. Demonstrate your ability to write, as this will establish your credibility as an educated person. After the church takes you in, use your rare writing skills to find work as a scribe. Move to a big city like Florence, and your scribing business will flourish, providing you a comfortable living.
The sixth greatest fact of all.
Family, that's not that easy, right? You can't just go to a place and just make a living out there. No, I don't think it works. That's my opinion. But let me know yours as well.
Of all time, is that in all the years in the history of human existence, there is a single worst. Don't believe me? In 1346, the Black Plague nearly wiped out all of Europe, Asia, and the Middle East. In just 2 years, a third of Europe perished. In just 18 months, 40% of the city of London died.
Wow.
And still, it isn't the worst year in human history.
Okay.
1315, torrential biblical rains flooded the Northern Hemisphere. It's the wettest year on record and resulted in the greatest famine in recorded history. By some estimates, half of Germany starved. Even the king himself couldn't find food. And still, it isn't the worst year in human history, because if you lived in the year 536, you didn't just suffer famine or plague, you suffered through both. On March 20th, 536, a massive volcanic eruption somewhere on Iceland darkened the skies so that for over a year, the sun shone with the power of the moon. Earth's temperature plunged more than 15 degrees. It blizzarded in Baghdad, and in China, it snowed through the summer. Famine hit cities in the Northern Hemisphere so badly that citizens simply abandoned them and returned to hunting and gathering. And then it got worse. The freeze forced plague-ridden rodents living in the high Asian steppe out of the mountains and into the populated lowlands, sparking the Justinian plague and the first pandemic in history. Fortunately, if you're a time traveler wondering if you could have survived the worst year in human history, I wrote a book of instructions. Check it out, and thanks for watching.
All right, here are some movies that have scared the shit out of me, and I will never stop recommending them. But be warned, because some of these movies are very violent, very creepy, and just overall, like, what the fuck am I watching?
I love movies, guys.
But as always, let's just fucking jump right into it.
Okay.
First up, let's talk about the movie Baskin. This is a 2015 Turkish horror film about 5 policemen who are responding to a distress call coming from an abandoned building. And when they get to the abandoned building, they go inside, and the more that they inspect this building, the more they realize they're entering the literal mouth of hell. The reason this movie freaked me out so much was its overall visuals, but honestly, like, the third act is just so, like, disturbing, and it just makes me feel really gross and weird inside. Like, this movie, I'm not gonna lie, did give me nightmares for a few nights after watching it. If you would like to check this one out, here's the list of where it's currently streaming. Next up, let's talk about The Sadness. This is a Taiwanese horror film about a virus that breaks out, and this virus basically causes people to act out on their most intrusive and like violent thoughts. This movie follows a couple who are trying to reunite amongst the fucking mayhem that's going on. The reason that this movie freaked me out was mainly this dude on the very top. Like, he just freaked me the fuck out. This guy just gave me really creepy and like pervy vibes, and he has this like maniacal laugh that just like really freaked me out like whatsoever. Trigger warning though, there is an essay scene, and all I'm gonna say is it involves an eye socket. That's all I'm gonna say about that. But also be warned, this movie is extremely bloody and extremely gory. It's honestly one of the most goriest films that I've seen. And if you'd like to check this one out, here's the list of where this one is currently streaming. Next up is the movie The Similars. This is a Mexican horror film about a group of people in the 1960s who get stuck at a bus station during a horrible freak rainstorm. One by one, each person falls victim to a very unusual seizure, and when they come out of the seizure, they all have the same face of one man that's at the bus station. And they all start to notice that even like on the magazines and posters at the bus station, all the people on it have the same face of this man. The reason this movie freaked me out so much was because it's very like Twilight Zone-y. Like, things are happening in this movie that should not be happening, but they are happening. And it's just very like, what the fuck? You could almost categorize this movie as a cosmic horror film, which is like my favorite subgenre of horror. I guess you can kind of say this really does freak me out because it's kind of like the fear of the unknown. Like, we don't know why this shit's going down, but it's going down. And if you would like to check this one out, here's where this one is currently streaming. And as always, if you guys have seen any of these movies, please let me know what your thoughts are in the comments.
Guys, was that a whale or maybe a stone? Because it is really amazing. Wow, guys, is this a real dinosaur? It looks real, guys.
Yep, this is Kim Jong-un crying because North Korea will now soon no longer be a nation and be wiped off the map. People were terrified to see that North Korea may no longer be called a nation after reports were showing just how fast people were passing. A meeting shows the haunting footage of thousands of women weeping over the end of their nation. With a population of only 25 million people, this becomes devastating, as reports show that just within the last few years, hundreds of thousands of people have died, and that's just from famine. With a report in 2010 from the WHO stating North Korea spends less than $1 per person per year on healthcare. As a result, women have been choosing to not have kids, leading only to aging people with no young workers. Kim Jong-un was then seen weeping during the national meeting, begging more women to have children, or this may be it for everyone there. A lot of the women at the conference look like grandmas, so I don't know if they can help.
This is serious and it's very sad, family. So what are we doing to help them as a world or as one body? Because they really need help. Let us give a helping hand if we can.
World population could easily exceed 8 billion by the year 2020. The negative impact of population growth on all of our planetary ecosystems is becoming appallingly evident. Unless nations will agree to work together to tackle these cross-border challenges posed by population growth, overconsumption of resources, and environmental degradation, the prospects for a decent life on our planet will be threatened.
Stop brushing your teeth.
Stop brushing your teeth. Brushing your teeth is bad. All right, let me explain. 99% of people in this generation use plastic toothbrushes. You may say, what is the problem with that? Plastic toothbrushes have nylon bristles, which contain microplastics. Every time you brush your teeth, millions of microplastic bits enter your system. This usually causes cancer and leads to a worse life. If you want to avoid this, then you can use a more natural alternative. What I recommend is using something called a Miss Wax stick. This stick originated from nature and is a more natural and healthy way of brushing your teeth. It contains 0 microplastics and makes your teeth whiter in just a matter of days. I said way too much in this video. Now it is up to you to change your lifestyle habits. I better go now before they take me down for sharing this kind of information.
Guys, so let me know your opinion on this, because if it is true, then we need to go back to the old ways, right? Because in history or in the olden times, we are aware that people were using brushes, but they were using other mediums to brush their teeth, like either branches, sticks. Some are even using leaf. They'll mesh the teeth. They'll mesh the leaf rather and use to brush their teeth. So if we're using the bristles can cause cancer to us, then we are in a shock of our lives. But let me know your idea on this. Is it really true, or is it just a hoax, guys?
You heard the eerie sounds in the sky? Mysterious noises resembling trumpets or horns have been reported worldwide, with explanations ranging from natural atmospheric phenomena to religious prophecies. Some speculate that these eerie sounds are harbingers of impending doom, while others interpret them as signs of extraterrestrial communication. Despite scientific attempts to explain them away, the haunting reverberations continue to echo across the globe, stirring primal fears and igniting speculation about the unknown forces that shape our world. Eager for more? Follow me for daily conspiracy theory thrills.
Bro, this is fucked. There's this common person that everybody starts seeing in the AI generator and nobody knows who it is. The pictures are mad disturbing. This girl, she went on DALL-E. She wanted to really test the AI. What she did, she put in the name of a celebrity. I think it was Marlon Brando. She wanted to test it by putting everything but Marlon Brando. She put a -1. What she's claiming is that that person shows up more than any other celebrity. In this AI generator, she searched up Marlon Brando with a -1. It showed this picture. She's like, what is this, right? It's DIGITAPNTICS. And then it just shows like weird castle. She took those letters, she put it in the AI generator, and what popped up was this girl, and her name is Loeb. Everybody started searching up who Loeb is and putting in the art generator. Bro, it gets messed up. Look at these pictures. Like, what is this shit?
What the fuck?
But look. Like, what the fuck is this?
Ew, man.
It looks like straight horror.
Yeah. The same.
So guys, family, you are aware it's AI, and I believe, AI is still trying to grow, it's still learning. So maybe at times it can be making such errors or such mistakes till it perfects itself. So maybe that kind of mistake can happen. It can also be true, family. But let me know your thought on this. It's very important.
World. And it has to raise the question, I know Rick Strassman has been on your show, and kudos to Rick Strassman, because he was really the first scientist to work with DMT and human volunteers at the University of New Mexico. Rick Strassman is open to the idea that what happens with DMT is that it alters the receiver wavelength of the brain, and that it allows us to gain access to other realities, that these encounters are not unreal, that they're real, but they're real on a level that we can't experience in a day-to-day state of consciousness. We have to be in an altered state of consciousness in order to experience them. And ultimately, the aim of this project is to map the DMT realm. We talk a lot about extraterrestrials and ETs and making contact, and I'm sure the universe is filled with life, and it would be a very good thing to have the tech to make contact, or perhaps not a good thing, with all those other life forms in the universe. But right there in the DMT.
So guys, as I said, there are a lot of life in the universe. Personally, I believe that there are other entities in this world, and I hope that we'll reach out to them. I believe we're not alone in this big planet of ours, and if you are able to reach to these new places, I believe it will be nice, it will be fun, because I believe aliens exist. Maybe we can even be the aliens, So that's how it is, guys.
Okay, I don't know how I can make it any more clear. If somebody said, hey, I don't see anything, draw the red lines. Okay, well, I did that. These are images that David Eckhart sent me. If you can't see that, then you're blind. That is something. This is why paranormal networks and paranormal investigators come to his house and spend weeks at the time, and he's on television repeatedly because of these things. This isn't something he's making up. Not to mention, there is a symbol on a door in Antarctica somewhere, in a secret compartment somewhere, and this is the symbol. Okay, this symbol, people that know Antarctica, they've seen this. They've seen the story about this thing. I don't know, is it something to do with, some type of an equation or something? David says that he has received mathematical equations that look like this in some sort of way, and that these entities, they gave them to him. These stories are so far out there, and I'm telling you right now, there's a reason that they're in contact with David. There's a reason he keeps sending. So here's some more images. Plain as day. Look at this. Demonic shapeshifter, demonic entity. Without a shadow of a doubt, that's what this is. This isn't something he made up. These are real images through his Stargate. Here's another one. Now, I don't know about you, but if I wake up, I look and I see this, I might be a little fearful. That's pretty wicked looking. That's pretty wicked looking. I'm just going to tell you, him telling me about that mathematical equation that was given to him in Antarctica, I'm going to have him on a live show and get him to explain that, because that's very interesting, and who knows what that means. But it's time to find out what's going on. Leave your comments.
Personally, family, the images are not that clear to me, so I can't really tell if it's true. That is my opinion. If the images were a bit clearer, that one we can have some kind of evidence on that, but I didn't see anything there.
Let's ruin your childhood. The kids in Ed and Eddie are actually dead and stuck in purgatory. Here is how. Rolf is the son of a shepherd who was trampled by farm animals. Jimmy, he passed away from leukemia. Ed and Eddie died as a result of their own sad accidents. This theory also explains why the kids all have blue, dead tongues, and why they're seemingly stuck in an endless summer vacation. There you go, folks. I hope you enjoyed this conspiracy theory and enjoy watching it, knowing that your childhood was a lie.
Now, all these leads come together when a video of a seemingly Jewish man crawling out of a hole, and after some investigation they find a whole tunnel system connected to a synagogue, and people are like, what the heck is going on?
There's an incredible story that was in Admiral Byrd's diary, where he said he flew in Antarctica and he went into an area where it was lush and tropical almost. And as he got into this area, these two UFO type craft, circular craft, flying saucers came and it took over his craft and it guided him into this area where they landed. And then they took him to meet somebody that he calls in his diary the Master. The guy, this Master, told him that they were wary of the nuclear bombs that had just, been utilized to drop the nuke on Japan and so forth. And they were wary of our experimentation with nuclear devices and wars because they're sharing this planet as well.
What if I told you Adam and Eve isn't the story you thought it to be? And there's a good, interesting theory behind it. The theory states that the story of Adam and Eve in the Bible didn't happen as the Bible says. In fact, Adam and Eve came from space. They were traveling through the galaxy on their ship that was ran by AI technology, which they called Satan. But due to faults in their system, they crash landed on a nearby planet, that planet being ancient Earth. And at the time, the planet was an even bigger resource of water, and it probably had one of its lowest population points since civilizations began. That's right, they thought they were alone, but there was actual civilization there the whole time. You see, when the couple first landed, they were alone. They had little to no resources aside from what was in their ship. And while their technology or ship was down, they had no way of contacting their own civilization for help. So they ended up being stuck for a little bit. But there was one civilization that was already here, and they weren't too far from it. And that ancient civilization would be the Egyptians in other parts of North Africa. And what makes this theory very interesting is it may not make sense on paper, but once you start to think about it, you can connect a lot of dots, as what the theory does. It would explain why there's so many depictions of gods, deities, and other supernatural beings in these ancient pictures. It also explains how Africa is home to all these ancient wonders that are so old but so advanced for that time. Because in the theory, Adam and Eve did eventually get rescued by their old civilization. And after being treated with such hospitality and seeing the potential in this ancient civilization, they left them with an abundance of knowledge, and would eventually come back a few times in order to help them make this. Ancient pyramids. As thanks for letting them stay and for greeting them so warmly, they offer to help them make these pyramids with their own civilization's technology. Another reason why this theory is so interesting, because it gives insight on how these massive buildings were made back then. Another interesting thing that this theory explains is the split between religions through time, as goods and even information was passed along from Egypt and North Africa to Rome and Greece and other parts of the Middle East. The story from Egypt about these visitors from another galaxy began to spread, making its way to Rome, places where Rome occupied, and other parts of the Middle East. And as we all know, when a story is passed down for so long through multiple regions, parts of the story change through rough translations and over time. And this is why there was a sudden switch between a multiple deity religion to a single God religion. And this explains why these ancient cultures knew so much, things that we have a hard time figuring out today. And not to discredit these ancient civilizations or any religion in this video, but it's an interesting theory. It provokes deep thought and makes you wonder, what do you guys think about this?
Family, only if this story is true, right? So if it is true, then it means that religion as a whole, or simply Christianity, is not real to start with. But only if it is true, family. But let me know your thought on this. Let me know, is it really true? What is your thought on on this very theory that we just watched?
You ever heard about disappearing object phenomenon? This is not crazy because I experienced it myself personally. So this phenomenon is when random things around your house magically disappears. Like you can leave something on the couch and it just vanish. My personal story, when I was just a little jit, I had a Furby toy. I think I got it from like McDonald's or Burger King. I'm not sure. But bro, I swear to God, I set that thing on the couch. I turned my head one day, I went in the kitchen or something like that, came back, and it was gone. Where'd it go? Now I know some of y'all probably thinking, Quan, you just misplaced it. Bro, I'm telling you, nobody was around. It literally fell into the couch. Where'd it go? In a dark portal? A hole? Explain it. What's even more spooky about this is, I never found the toy, ever. It just vanished. But in the comment section, let me know if you ever experienced something like this, because I have.
Guys, I have the same. I remember years ago when I was far younger, I think I had a coin, and I remember the coin falling. I was coming from school, the coin fell down, and I saw the coin falling down, and I saw where it fell personally. So when I went out to pick it, as if it wasn't there again, as if the coin just disappeared. I searched that place and I couldn't find it again. I saw it fall. I saw where it fell. It didn't jump to a different place. No, I could see it. But when I was about to bend down, I realized it disappeared. And this thing do happen to some of us. But let me know in the comment section if your object has ever disappeared before and you could never find it.
Hey everybody, this is Guitar Miles. I want you to check these photos out. Now, I was going through some of David Eckhart's stuff, and he sends me all of this stuff, and this is one that he got through one of his portals, through one of his Stargates. And guys, that's as plain as day. And it's different every time. You can tell it's a dark entity. Not only this one, check this out. Really, I do not even have to point this out. Same jug, same Stargate, same equipment that he's using every single time, different stuff every single time. This is why I say I believe David. This is why you can see a child in this one and you can see the face. Now, I've seen interdimensional beings. I've seen these things before. So I know, to me, I'm just going to say, to me, 100%.
Family, is that a child? You see any picture of a child in the head in there? But I'm not seeing anything, guys. I'm not seeing anything weird. I'm just seeing just a white and a black. But let me know your thought on this very picture. Is it true what the man is saying? Does this picture represent a child?
Percent authentic to me. Going back to this one, he said he actually made contact with this guy and that he was some sort of a doctor and that he was in contact with interdimensional beings which were reptilian species. Guys, this is amazing stuff. One more last look at the child. Tonight, I hope to have David on the show, on the live, and he can explain these two photos to us. If don't know, or if you don't know David Eckhart, he is a very well-known guy in the paranormal community. He's been on shows like Outcast Paranormal and all that, and History Channel and all these other things. We'll let him explain it if he shows up tonight. Tell me in the comments, what do you think?
As many ancient texts will suggest, this is not how true wisdom is passed on. This creates a sort of self-created deception and distraction from the bigger picture, which is rarely explored. If you're already familiar with spirit science, we've talked before about how everything is connected. This was even a fundamental part of my own awakening, where I had a transcendent experience that all things were one, unified and stemming from and linking to a singular greater whole. Yet today, and the struggle of human consciousness, is that most people are not seeing it, simply not looking, or not even wanting to look. In modern science today, there are many scientists searching for an all-pervading theory of everything, something that unifies quantum mechanics and the theories of relativity.
Yeah.
And so today, we respectfully present to you the conspiracy theory of everything. I invite you to...
Family, I believe, in spirit science, we are really united. We are one. We are like one consciousness, one body, one system. That is why I always urge people that we are one. No matter the geographical location, the skin color, the language, we are one. Though it might differ in skin color, in language, skin tone, but we are one. That is why we have to love ourselves, love each other. That's how I think we are being designed, but divisions among us is not what is helping us.
Cuando vuelva la luz, va a volver a explotar. Oye, justo hay una micro ahí, weón.
Guys, what is that? Guys, is that a real giant? Let me know your comment on this. I want to know your thought on this. Very important.
99.9% of the universe is plasma. It's not physical at all. It's plasma. And what they call the atomic level, which is made up of atoms, but atoms themselves are empty, gives you a clue this is not solid, is a tiny smear of the universe. And that tiny smear is what our narrow band of visible light is connected to see. So we're looking at this smear, and the rest of the universe exists all around us, including with these entities in it, but we're not aware of it. Because we're not aware of it, we think it doesn't exist. It actually does. So you've got this Wi-Fi. And if you say to people now who know about computers and know about Wi-Fi, you say the same. There's a field of information in this room that you can tap into anywhere in the world. People say, oh, yeah, Wi-Fi, I know about that, yeah. And the only difference between I know about that and you're mad is knowledge. That's all it is. So the more you can manipulate knowledge and suppress knowledge, the more people will dismiss what's actually happening because they can't perceive that it's possible to happen because that knowledge has been kept from them. And so,
wow.
What you have with this cult is two worlds in one world. You have the secret society network I've described, which is fiercely compartmentalized. Only the inner core really know the story. And then you've got the population. And what's happening is the knowledge of reality And the knowledge of where humanity is being taken is kept in the cult, and it's passed over through the generations. And the same cult has created the education system. In America, it was created by the Rockefellers, not least J.D. Rockefeller. They own the media. They own the sources of information, apart from, people who are working to uncover this stuff. And so that information source to the population is designed to be as narrow as possible so that people have no bloody idea what they know.
Family, you can see how knowledge has been kept from the masses. Wow, I really love the example with the Wi-Fi, guys. I believe the man really explained and made it so clear how information is being hidden from masses, hidden from us. Let us stay woke, family. It's very important.
A video about the strange things that are being sold on Etsy got taken down yesterday. I went ahead and made a little disclaimer. This video is for entertainment purposes only. But I found a couple more on Etsy, and these are currently on the Etsy shop. This first one's Maya, and it's $35 for just the picture. But then here's the weird part. Or you can pay $50,000 for a Maya, portrait of a girl Maya, portrait, innocent girl, innocent Maya, innocent Maya girl art. What's the difference between the $30 one and the $50,000 one? And why does that one have that description? And this one's $26,000, kids luxury house in LA. Because people are just buying children luxury houses in LA. These were found on the international Etsy. A viewer actually sent them to me. Young pizza assorted, 41,000 pounds. And here's the description of that. Length, 4 feet, width, 2 feet, or maybe like 4'2". Awesome girl pizzas, ready to ship, arrives in container, pick up from depot, ordinary looking packaging. All shipments are not identical. You will not receive what's in the picture. Southern Imports is always ready to ship, recently packaged and very quick shipping to ensure quality. Message with your referral.
The entire...
Whoa, family. This is very serious. I mean, this is what people use to child traffic. I heard that there are means by which they're able to advertise traffic children, through this kind of online services or websites. So why would someone sell a portrait for just a portrait picture for $35 and the same portrait for $50,000? So you can see that it is very clear that hidden the whole scene into sales. So if you are not into those child trafficking, buying children, no, you won't understand. That's what they use to child traffic. I believe that website needs to be checked. They need to track the seller, because that seller is into child trafficking. This is very serious.
Earth is moving into another dimension. We're living in very exciting times right now. Things that have never happened in the history of the universe are happening right now. Vibrations and frequencies of the whole Earth are changing to what's called the New Earth. And this is in the Bible too, in the book of Revelations, when they talk about the new heaven and the new earth. You're going through a lot of things to see. Main thing is getting rid of the karma. You're going through a testing time. Do you want to stay with the old earth? Do you want to stay on the wheel of karma? Or do you want to move on where there is no karma in the new earth? And many, many people are moving there. They're moving into it right now. In order to move, our vibrations and frequencies of our own bodies have to change to match that of the earth as it moves. See, the earth is a living being.
Prophecies that are about to fulfill.
What she said is really true, family. The world is changing, and we can see the rise of technology and AI. So I believe that the world is changing to that era whereby AI is going to dominate the things we do.
Phil. of our dead relatives.
Now this is
Wow, family, this is so creepy. Right? But let me know your thought on this. Would this be possible, whereby we can digitize one's memory or one's thoughts and use VR to communicate through them? Personally, I don't think it's possible. That's my personal opinion. But why? Because human, we haven't yet discovered the 100% of even the brain. We are still discovering the brain. So, how are we going to be able to digitize one's thoughts, right? So that's my opinion. But let me know your thought on this, guys.
interesting. Baba Vanga's top 3 predictions for 2024. And trust me, the first one will shock you for those who don't know. Despite the blind Bulgarian mystic passing away in 1996, her predictions continue to intrigue many, especially given her record of 85% accuracy. Let's not forget she has predicted significant events, including 9/11, and even foresaw her own death a decade prior. Number 1. The fall of a powerful object from space to Earth, impacting a major city. This event is speculated to be either a meteor strike or a satellite crash. Number 2. Major earthquakes in mountainous regions such as the Andes, Himalayas, and Alps, areas where scientists have warned that quakes could be particularly devastating. Number 3. The assassination or unexpected death of a world leader, which could significantly impact international politics. The rise of populism and ongoing tensions contribute to high terrorist threats. Hold on for a second.
Hello. What is that, guys? The eyes. This is creepy, guys. It's so
probably one of the craziest conspiracy theories that I have ever heard in my entire life. Everyone watching this right now, everybody you know, your parents, your family, your cousins, your aunts, your uncles, your friends is actually dead. No one is alive. But how is that possible, right? If everybody can feel pain, everybody can theoretically jump in front of a moving train, they can pinch themselves, they can hit themselves, they can inflict pain on others. How is it that we are all dead? So there are 2 well-known and documented things that we know happens to us after we are proclaimed clinically dead, meaning after the heart has stopped beating, right? Number 1 being that your whole life flashes right before your eyes. And that's become cliche to say, right? You see it in movies, you see it in cartoons, you see it in novels and books, whatever. And number 2 being that your brain lives on for 7 whole minutes after you've been proclaimed dead. And in those 7 minutes, your brain is recreating memories in a dreamlike state. And as Einstein proclaimed, time is relative, right? So time moves completely different for you when you're dead versus when you're alive. So those 7 minutes for your brain after your death can vary anywhere from 7 minutes to 100 years, and it all feels real because you're living in a dreamlike state. And this theory claims that we all died in 2012 when the Mayans had predicted the end of the world, and we all collectively died instantly. And that now we are all experiencing life through a shared consciousness. And that's why there's the Mandela effect, because we're all trying to come together and recreate these memories as best as we can on a collective consciousness level. So some people will remember certain things as being a certain way, and others will remember things being another way. Nothing is real. No one is real. Everything is fake, including me.
Guys, this story is very creepy, guys. It's very, very creepy. But though, it makes sense based on what the man is saying. But at times we just need to watch and just get scared, get scared, family.
You're right, there is a firmament. The thing that you have wrong about it is that it's made of glass. The firmament's not made of glass. The reason we can't go through the firmament is because it's a different vibrational field. That is to say, the same vibrational fields that hold my body together or my hand together, instead of it flying off into a million billion different molecules and atoms, is the frequency of this place we live in. I mean, look at any audio frequency test. Put sand on a speaker, give it different frequencies. What happens? They take shape, they take form.
Why is the CIA attempting to conceal the world's end? In 2013, Dr. Chan Thomas, a former U.S. defense contractor, claimed in a 1966 book titled The Adam and Eve Story, which the CIA recently declassified 50 pages of, that the Earth's magnetic pulse will shift every 12 to 14,000 years, resulting in significant cataclysms that are intended to reset human civilization. Intriguingly, the book claims that, hauntingly, cannibalism is about to reoccur, and that we are actually the 6th advanced civilization to evolve on Earth. You see, there have been numerous cases of artifacts being discovered that predate our 12,000-year history if you look at the evidence. Many individuals are pondering whether what is written is accurate, despite the fact that we can only assume as to why the remaining 232 pages are still classified.
What if, guys?
One of the biggest conspiracy theories in the entire world is that Avril Lavigne passed away and was replaced by a clone named Melissa. These theories began when fans started noticing that Avril looks very different than how she used to look, and not only does she look different, she even sounds different. The theory is that Avril started using a body double sometime in 2003 because the fame was getting to her and she felt really overwhelmed. It's said that she started using a body double named Melissa, and then sometime in 2003, Avril, the real Avril, passed away due to unaliving herself because the fame was all too much for her and she had just lost her grandfather, who was her best friend. And instead of revealing Avril's passing to the world, her team decided to just put Melissa in her place, so they could keep making money off of Avril. Fans have even pointed out that some things like moles on Avril's body are in different places than they used to be. Maybe because they're not real moles, and they're just fake moles that were put on Melissa to try to make her look more like Avril. And here's another example. And one of the creepiest parts about all of this is that Avril actually did a photo shoot with the name Melissa written on her hand. So is this Avril, or is this really Melissa? Avril has come out and publicly denied these allegations, but still, some people don't know if they should trust what Avril has to say.
Guys, so family, it can be that one, she chose to change her appearance and also chose to change the way she sounds, right? Most artists tend to go through phases, so maybe that doesn't mean that she has been replaced. Maybe it is just a change of state. That's my opinion, but let me know yours as well, guys.
Always tell us through movies, don't they? Check this out.
There was one program in particular that terrified my client the most. A simple 3-stage maneuver that could topple a country's government from within. The first stage was isolation. Disable their communication and transportation. Make the target as deaf, dumb, and paralyzed as possible. Setting them up for the second stage. Synchronized chaos. Terrorize them with covert attacks and misinformation. Overwhelming their defense capabilities, leaving their weapon systems vulnerable to extremists in their own military. Without a clear enemy or motive, people would start turning on each other. Done successfully, the third stage would happen on its own. What's the third stage? Coup d'etat.
Wow.
Civil war. Collapse. This program was considered the most cost-effective way to destabilize the country.
Y'all, I am freaking out right now. There's a lot of unexplained things going on in the ocean right now. Hold on real quick. I do not trust them. Just watch this real quick for me.
You get to Mars by going through the ocean. You can't get to the bottom of the ocean because outer space is the ocean.
Now, what she just said just blew my mind. Now, there's a situation called the firmament. So we know that water is all around us. And it is said that this dome divided the sea into upper and lower sections. You can't cancel this out because they still haven't discovered 80% of the sea. Early civilizations believed that the ocean and the stars above were linked. I mean, just look. Mayan, Norse, Hindu, Hebrew, all of them. Now, we already know what spacesuits look like, but they look exactly like sea suits. I know once in your life you've heard of the Bermuda Triangle. Planes and people going missing in the ocean. There are black holes in the ocean. And I just know once in your life you've heard about sea monsters. When you see a comet, it looks like a boat soaring through water. What if these unexplained species in the ocean are actually aliens? If y'all have ever watched this movie Underwater, they went too deep and found the creature that don't even look like it's supposed to be from this earth. Or could it have just been a creature from space? Now you can say what you want, but I bet you we are not the only beings, only species, only creatures that are in this universe. It's just ironic that when they return to Earth, they're on water. I mean, I know I'm not tripping. And I know y'all heard of mermaids. So many unexplained things in the ocean. They're making more discoveries in space. Not really putting too much money or caring about what's going on the planet. Why? Because this sea stuff might have a lot of connections to space. And they not telling us. Y'all be safe, and I know I'm not the only person who feel this way.
Okay.
Medusa is actually real. In the hushed halls of a top-secret laboratory in 2023, scientists stumbled upon a discovery that shook the world. Meet Dr. Emily Grant, a passionate marine biologist with an insatiable curiosity for myths and legends. The azure depths of the Mediterranean Sea is where our tale unfolds. Dr. Grant with her team had embarked on a mission to study ancient sea creatures believed to be long extinct. During the first few weeks, Dr. Grant's underwater excursions revealed nothing more than beautiful corals and elusive marine life. Days turned into weeks, but Dr. Grant, with burning determination, pressed on even as the final day of her expedition drew near. On what was supposed to be her last dive, a mysterious cave beckoned. Inside, she found an ancient stone carving resembling a woman's face with serpents for hair. Dr. Grant, intrigued, ventured deeper. Suddenly, the walls shimmered, revealing hidden passages, each leading to a different discovery about Medusa's lore. As she turned a corner, a massive shadow loomed. The face, though stone, had eyes that seemed alive. Dr. Grant's heart raced. Realizing she was in the lair of the real Medusa, she swiftly swam towards an exit, narrowly escaping the stone gaze that had claimed so many. Back at her lab, Dr. Grant worked tirelessly, connecting the dots between the lore and her findings. The world watched in awe as Dr. Grant revealed that Medusa, once believed to be a mere myth, was an ancient creature whose DNA still lurked in some deep-sea creatures, causing petrification. But if Medusa's genes are still active, what else from ancient tales lurks beneath? Follow or subscribe for part 2.
Conspiracy theories that everyone knows is true, part 1. Everyone knows the story of the man that invented an engine that ran on nothing but water that supposedly was able to go 845 miles between fill-ups. Somebody from the oil and gas industry got upset and got this guy whacked off basically in broad daylight. They poisoned him and found unalived. I'm going to take it a step further on this. Not only do I think oil and gas industries are doing everything they can to stop people from inventing things like this, I think they're also stopping the advancement of just regular combustion engines and their mileage. I find it very strange that outside of going to a hybrid or an electric vehicle, that the overall gas mileage of engines really has not changed in many, many decades. Considering how much things have gotten advanced in everything else in society, I don't think it's really that possible that there's no way big companies like Toyota or Honda or Ford can't find a way to have an engine that's not a hybrid or electric that can add more mileage to a vehicle. But everyone knows this is true, and this is another thing that nobody steps up and does anything about because they're scared they're also going to go get whacked off.
Family, this is so serious. Why is this world so wicked? And why is the oil and gas company trying their best for people not to invent other ways of helping us with our transport system? When this guy was able to invent a way whereby you can use water as fuel, they have to whack the person from the face of the earth to kill him. There was an incident that I heard in China whereby a man also invented an engine that uses water. You just pour water in the engine and it starts working. The man also is missing till today, not being found. There's an evil somewhere, guys, that don't want us, to be hooked with this oil and gas system. We need to check this out, family.
There's a theory that the Grand Canyon holds something that none of us knew was there. So back in the 1850s, right? Yeah. The Grand Canyon was used to mine gold. When people started mining it, the gold index crashed because they found so much gold there. Okay. Now what happened was the government and the military, they closed it off and they made it a sanctuary so that nobody can just go there and then take whatever they want. There was this one guy, his name was Seth Tanner. And he was an explorer. He explored this one cave and he claims what he saw was ancient Egyptian hieroglyphics in one of the caves.
Oh, what did it say?
The Grand Canyon, it actually holds the lost city of El Dorado.
What?
Like, you know, the lost gold city of El Dorado.
Yeah, the whole city.
The whole city. So if you think about it, it's never found. That ancient tale that all of the natives talk about, the lost city, and the reason the government and the world is trying to keep it a secret is because it would crash the gold price.
Goblins are actually real. A lot of theories say that they existed in the past, but what if I told you they still exist in 2023? In 2020, a man called Paul Reeves, who lived in a small house in the middle of the forest, decided to get wood in a forest to make a fire. But what he saw will leave you speechless. As he was walking in the forest, he saw a small creature at the bottom of a huge tree. At first, he simply thought it was a person taking a picture. But as he got closer, he saw a small creature going up the tree. He was convinced that what he saw wasn't a human or an animal, so he went back to his house and got equipment and climbed up the tree. And he saw something he would have never expected. He saw an entire village with small, mysterious creatures. He then went back to his house to investigate what he just saw, and he discovered that those were goblins, small creatures that look innocent, but they are actually really dangerous. So the next day, he decided to go back with more precaution. Subscribe for part 2. Did you know that?
Do you see these Roman numeral numbers down here? They add up to 1776, the year that America officially became the country we know of today. And also the year of the birth of another secret society, which was absorbed into Freemasonry after it was banned in 1785. But look, the base numbers. M is 1,000, C is 100, and X is 10. All you have to do is subtract the base numbers. 1776 minus 1,000 minus 100 minus 10.
Whoa.
Or simply remove the Roman numerals which represent the base numbers. No, I'm not playing tricks on you. Neither are your eyes. But someone else is. Now that you've seen the prevalence and seriousness of this horrid number, now that you've seen what you've seen, I can show you where else it appears. This figure is represented by the numbers. To make this work, they had to remove the number 1 altogether and separate the 2. Of course, we'd be too dumb to pick up on it. But 789 minus 456 is this, multiplied by this lonesome 2. That's right.
Wow.
This dark and mysterious figure is none other than the long-anticipated Antichrist. the ruler of the Saturnian kingdom, which is on its way. And Australia has been steeped up to its neck in secret society since the early 1900s. World Economic Forum logo, with this slash through the O's, is of course representative of the number of the ruler of the New Age, 666. The barcode is the primitive version of the worldwide system that Jesus predicted would revolve around the number of the beast. And as you can see, the base of every single barcode in all the world is 666. No matter if the lines are on the ends and in the middle are elongated or not. I found that out from the horse's mouth in an interview with the man who was commissioned by IBM to come up with a new way to automate data collection. There are in fact 3 sixes in the Google logo, which comes from this occult symbol. Coincidence? And he found in a Masonic lodge, the square and compass symbol appears in the middle of a hexagram, which is a symbol used in the royal art of Freemasonry, witchcraft, as shown in this book. Well, among other things, the hexagram itself can be broken down to quite clearly.
There are hundreds of the most powerful deceased people in the US, whose bodies are frozen in liquid nitrogen. Scientists hope to have the technology one day to bring these bodies back from the dead. Walt Disney, baseball legend Ted Williams, Michael Jackson, and hundreds of more are believed to be frozen waiting for their time again. The real question is, will they be the same when they arise?
And there's the real question, guys. Is it true? Are they really kept in such places? And even in the future, would there be a technology that can really revive a dead person back to life? Let me know your thoughts on this, guys, because it's very important. Let me know your thoughts at the comment section.
Video was posted 3 years ago. Now, I'm not gonna say what I really want to say because TikTok will take me down for integrity and authenticity. But all I'm gonna say is, it's not a coincidence.
The Pentagon is using high-altitude balloons to conduct surveillance tests in the Midwestern states of South Dakota, Minnesota, Iowa, Wisconsin, Missouri, and Illinois, according to documents from the Federal Communication Commission. The Guardian reports the surveillance balloons are carrying small satellite-like vehicles with synthetic aperture radars, sensors, and communications equipment. The surveillance balloons travel at altitudes of up to 65,000 feet and are used to track vehicles via the synthetic radars in all kinds of weather. The Guardian reports that the balloons use an advanced mesh networking technologies, which allows them to share data and communicate with one another.
I think I've figured.
But yet, let me ask, is it a bad thing? To my opinion, I believe it's a good thing because we need such things to track the things we do, because crime is now on the rise, theft is now on the rise. There should be a kind of technology that can be tracking, that's the good way, tracking and making sure that these things never happen. That is what I see. But let me know your thought on this. Is our privacy at stake? Let me know your thoughts and your take on this.
About why so many people believe conspiracy theories? Santa. It's got all the elements of a great conspiracy. It's got a cover-up of staggering proportions, corporate involvement, the government is involved, body doubles. There's tons of body doubles. It is probably the most legitimate conspiracy that has ever happened. I cannot overstate how massive the scope of this is. I mean, millions of people, the majority of adults in America are involved in this cover-up. And even if you're not involved, you're supposed to be involved, right? I mentioned Santa one time on a podcast. I got emails from people being like, how dare you? You should have warned us. What if kids were listening? Then they'd hear a stranger say something true. I'm required to be on the same page as you on the lie that you're using to get your kids to behave? That is a powerful, powerful conspiracy. Obviously, corporations are involved. They're the ones hiring the massive numbers of body doubles every year to lie about this. But also the government is involved. Like, NORAD posts a Santa tracker every Christmas Eve that shows on radar where he is at any given moment, which one of my takeaways from that is that government scientists can produce fake bogeys on their radar whenever they want. That's a weird power to brag about. You can see how somebody who learns about that would have a short jump to being like, oh, the moon's not real. Remember the moment where you sort of found out it was a conspiracy, right? That is an exciting, terrifying moment. The first kid who was like, oh, I think it's your parents, he was treated like he was wearing a tinfoil hat, right? Like, you're either brave or crazy, and we don't know which one it is. Because if you admit that Aiden's older brother is telling the truth, then you're also admitting that everyone you've ever trusted was telling you a lie, and that's why every one of them is a potential Rogan head.
This is one. Guys, you are aware that Santa has become a kind of lie or in a system. Santa is a plan and a man-made venture, to make money and to control kids. And I believe, you see, that's why the government is on this, because it is what so many companies make money from, so many people make money from. It is a whole system, so that is why Santa will never stop to seize, and they will, every Christmas they'll try their best, to always raise this idea of Santa. And you know that people are now even worshiping Santa as God. It is very creepy, guys. So creepy.
Conspiracy theories in the world. The theory implies that our phones and other devices are listening to us at all times, and that we have no privacy. This theory comes from worries about the creation of AI, such as Siri. Is Siri only listening when you call upon her? Or is she always listening to every convo you have and collecting information on you? I mean, it is interesting how you can talk to someone about something and then see the very same thing you mentioned on a YouTube ad. As we continue to technologically advance more new AI, tech arises raising more concerns. Are we always being watched and listened to? Let me know what you think in the comment section below. I would love to hear your thoughts on this subject.
This is very important because, guys, you don't know that Samsung, Apple, and these major brands are saying that everything that we do is on phone encrypted. So it means they claim that they have no idea of what we do on our mobile phone because it is on phone encrypted, saved on the phone, and not on their service. But there's a question: is it true, family? I don't think it's true. I believe that we are being tracked each day and out. Our calls are being tracked. Our movement have been tracked. I remember the last time I was browsing through one of the e-commerce website, that is AliExpress. So I saw a product I want to buy, but when I saw the product, I saved it down so that I can buy it later on. When I moved from there and I went to browse on the website, I realized that the ad I saw on AliExpress, the same ads was just tracking me. Was appearing on the website I was, browsing through. So I don't think we are not just monitored. We are being spied on every day.
Alright, so this is what I think is what's going on. Warning, I'm about to go down that rabbit hole. This is for the people that know what's going on in the background, underneath the surface type deal. These people have connected our brains to the cell phone via brainwaves. Like, have you ever been like on your phone scrolling and you see something that you know you didn't type in and you know you didn't say anything, like you didn't speak it out loud verbally, but you know you thought it, and it shows up on your phone, and no, I didn't take I didn't take it. And a lot of other people have noticed the same thing too. They didn't speak it and they didn't type it in anywhere, but they thought it. See, I'm thinking that they trying to connect our brains to the cell phone. That's why they made all these cell phones 5G. So they trying to connect our brains to get our thoughts and upload it to this AI type deal, right? Like they trying to create this artificial guide, aka AI. And it's learning how we think and it knows what we're thinking. So like this AI you know, thing. It's already introduced to us, but it's gonna be like a bigger thing, like in the future. And they're gonna be like, oh, you know, AI is here to help and to do this and do that and da-da-da-da-da, right? When in reality, the AI is gonna take over the world. They trying to get the AI to shadow God, basically. Because they know where our thoughts is coming from. It's coming from the source. And AI can't create on its own. So AI is gonna try to, I guess, sabotage or get the ideas from the source. Like, it's a number of things that they're trying to do with AI. Like, with AI, they can create a whole army of people. Like, it's about to get ugly, man. The world that we know is slowly vanishing. Tell me what y'all think.
I think that it is the algorithm. I believe day by day they tend to, you know, advance the algorithm, and now these days even the algorithm is now self-learning. You know, it learns on its own, so at times it is able to predict, you know, based on some few clicks, they're able to predict what you might do next. So that is why, so now we have smart algorithms that are able to predict 80% of what you want to do or your interest. That is how it is. Like the algorithm used by TikTok is so smart that even upon just 4, you know, scrolls of videos, it is able to predict what you might even watch next. And that is how now the algorithms are becoming so smart. Even on YouTube the same. So that is my idea on this. But let me know yours, guys. It's very important.
Thing called the Black Eye Club. A lot of celebrities, even presidents, people in power, all at some point had this like black eye. And that was a sign that they've initiated into this elitist club. Everybody Google the Black Eye Club, and you can see different celebrities that have it. Like, there's literally so many here. I'll show you right now. Check this out. Robert Downey Jr., Ryan Gosling, Adam Sandler, George Bush, Barack Obama, bro.
Kanye West? What?
Kanye, okay, but that was from his crash.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it's hard to say for sure. Things like this, we can't know for sure because maybe they just had an accident. You know what I mean?
I know, but the symbolism, like you said, mask, and she was dressed up, right?
Mhm.
And there was a movie where she was trying to represent like that movie.
Yeah.
And in that movie, she was wearing a Volto mask, which
What's that?
which means ghost, right? Which translates to ghost. And that same person in that movie that she dressed up as, she was sacrificed in that movie.
Shit.
So it's like you have the black eye, you have the mask.
They look at their rockets.
Guys, I believe when you join the black eye, how are you able to get that kind of bruises around the eye? No, are you being punched to the eye when you join that group or that occult? Who knows, guys? If that group really exists or that occult exists, then there's a lot for us to learn about them as well.
This is how they claim they get into outer space, is these rockets. Their rockets never go straight up. Every single rocket launch from a government space agency, you'll notice, follows a parabolic curve. It goes up, it reaches a peak, but what they do is as the rocket starts coming back down, they make sure that it goes down over the ocean, out of the way of any curious observers. Anyone can see it coming back down to Earth, asks, hey, how come the rocket's not going up anymore? Well, it's going around the curvature of the Earth, is what they tell us. So every single rocket, the reason that it follows a parabolic curve, they say, is because it's going around the curvature of the Earth. The real reason is they can't get up any higher than that.
Wow.
The only thing that's been to space is your imagination.
They tell us that the Earth is a sphere. They show us pictures of a sphere, of a circle. It's a perfect circle. And then they come out and they say, well, it's actually an oblate spheroid. Oh, what's that? Well, it's a sphere that's flattened at both poles, so it's more of an oval shape. It actually bulges out south of the equator, as well as being flattened at the poles. So it's more pear-shaped.
So it's not actually a sphere. It's oblate. And officially it's an oblate spheroid. That's what we call it. But not only that, it's slightly wider below the equator than above the equator. A little chubbier. A little chubbier. Yeah. Chubby's a good way. It's like pear-shaped.
So now it's pear-shaped. So why are all of these official NASA photos and videos showing perfect spheres when it's actually an oblate spheroid? or a pear-shaped spheroid. They can't get their story straight. The reason they keep changing it is that to fit the model, they have to change the shape of the Earth. South of the equator is larger than north of the equator because lines of longitude that just extend outwards, they don't contract back. So they concede that in their pear model. They say, well, the sun bulges out south of the equator. It's bigger south of the equator. Yeah, it is, because it's flat. But instead of admitting that, they just, make tweaks to their model as time goes on. They say that the ball Earth tilts back 23.5 degrees. That's another tweak they made because we can see Polaris, which is right over the North Pole, from 23.5 degrees south latitude. Shouldn't be able to see that on a ball. So they just tilt the Earth back and then okay, now you can see it. And so they come up with explanations in reverse like this. Damage control, reverse engineered explanations.
You need to hit.
Well, guys, so this flat earth theory, there are so many things about it that's really, in a way, makes it true, guys.
This crazy conspiracy about iPhones. Have you ever thought about why an iPhone has its name? Some people think when Apple says I, it literally means I. iPhones are watching us, listening to us, and seeing everything we're doing. And some people have this link to the Illuminati. Don't believe me? What's Siri spelled backwards?
One of the craziest conspiracy theories I've ever heard is called Thursdayism. And what that is people think last Thursday, everything in the entire universe was created. Your chair, your memories, even the sun, everything was created last Thursday. And the craziest part is there's no way to disprove this theory. So maybe the universe did start last Thursday.
Mountains are actually dead giants. Whispers began to circulate, shaking the very foundation of our beliefs. Mountains weren't just rock and earth, but ancient dead giants. Our hero Alex, a young geologist with an insatiable curiosity, had grown up hearing legends about giants ruling the earth. Now he wanted to uncover the truth. Deep in the heart of the Rockies, Alex began his thrilling journey seeking proof for this wild idea. Every rock he examined, every soil sample he collected was a piece to this grand puzzle. Days became weeks. Many thought Alex's theory was too wild, but he was undeterred. As his time in the mountains neared its end, he was determined to find that one clue to support his theory. Suddenly, on his last day, as he was about to give up, Alex stumbled upon something. A massive stone finger, clearly not like ordinary rock. Excitedly, Alex decided to dig around this area, uncovering more. He found what looked like an enormous stone face, eyes closed in eternal slumber. However, danger loomed. Mountain storms notorious for their fury began to roll in. Alex, realizing he was in a perilous situation, quickly took photos and marked the location. Racing against time and the brewing tempest, he reached his camp, narrowly escaping nature's wrath. Back home, Alex spent weeks studying his findings. Slowly, it became clear. These mountains with their peaks reaching the sky weren't just landforms. They were remains of ancient giants petrified over millennia. The enormity of this revelation was staggering. The tales of old weren't mere stories. They were echoes of a forgotten past. But one thought lingered in Alex's mind. Were all mountains sleeping giants, and could they ever awaken again? Follow or subscribe for more.
I want to ask you something, man.
Ask me something.
Because I watch your videos, man. I made a review of one of your videos.
All right, what is it?
So I forgot what it's called, but you made a video. I want to know, man. Are you gay?
Gay, bro? Only for Ronaldo.
I know your father is a Christian.
Okay.
Are you a Christian?
Am I a Christian? Okay. See, that's a very, great question, you know what I'm saying? But let me ask you this, okay?
No. Answer the question first.
Okay, first of all, I came here to see Ronaldo. I'm in Manchester right now. You're asking me questions about God, okay? Let me tell you this. Stop talking to me, sir. Have a nice day.
I thought so. The man is gay for Ronaldo. His father's a Christian, and he's afraid to acknowledge the question because he knows what I'm saying is right. All those who sell their soul for money, for fame, and living in sodomite, effeminate lifestyles will find themselves in hell.
Wow. Personally, guys, I'm not against preachers. Yeah, personally, I'm a Christian myself. But at times, the way we tend to approach people is wrong. That is actual speed. Yeah, so the guy's actual speed was going to watch a football match, and he's late to watch it and want to interview him. The time for the interview was wrong. Right. So I believe at times our approach is wrong. And because our approaches are wrong, we tend to receive wrong answers from people. So that is my opinion on this.
I warn you, if you make any further inquiries, or if you say a single word to anyone about what you have seen,
It's literally called the Antarctic Circle. And they didn't just do that for no reason. The United Nations logo is literally the flat earth map with Antarctica missing at the bottom because they know the truth, it goes around. Not to mention, it's also the map that all pilots use, with Antarctica going around. Now, where does the word of God tie into all this? Well, if we look in the book of Proverbs, when he prepared the heavens, I was there. When he set a compass upon the face of the depth is the ocean. Local usage of compass is a circle. Look what it says here, when he gave to the sea his decree, that the waters should not pass his commandment. Well, God set a circular boundary on the ocean to keep the waters from passing his commandment. Like I mentioned, this is the map that all pilots use. Just look at these photos of Antarctica. It's a perfect ice wall. God's creation is beautiful. Like I told you, this is the map that all pilots use. Which is why they come out and say things like this all the time.
Pilot, hi. How long have you been flying for?
Like for Delta, 21 years, but maybe like 30 something.
I want to know, because they say the pilots know a lot. Do you think the Earth is flat or no?
I know it's flat.
You know it's flat?
Guys, so you see, pilots in the interview, he said he has flew for almost 21 years. And he also testified that the earth is flat. Family, this flat earth theory seems true.
The word is true, it is accurate, and it's alive. The Bible says, let God be true, but every man a liar. Stop trusting what the world tells you, and put your faith in the word. God bless you guys. Don't forget to like and follow, and I'll see y'all in the next one.
You know his name's not Jesus, right? If you go back to where Jesus was walking the earth and you walked around and said, where's Jesus? Nobody would know who the fuck you're talking about. If you start looking deep into the scriptures, man, one of them says, my children will know my name. Well, his name ain't Jesus. No, the scripture says, seek and ye shall find. Listening to a pastor tell you something isn't seeking. Why am I so big on the name? Well, because if you look at certain scripture, it says, give praise to my name, give glory to my name. What's his name? No, it says Jesus. That's not his name. So everyone says it doesn't really matter. He just, as long as he knows. Look, I didn't read the part in the scripture that said that. I didn't read that part. I didn't read the part, hey, call me whatever you want. Just call me. Because his name was given to us over 7,000 times. But then at some point in time, way back in about 383 AD, they translated it and they were told not to use the name anymore. One of the 10 commandments is, thou shalt not take the Lord's name in vain.
Yeah.
Now, what does the word vain mean? It means to make meaningless or useless. How much more useless can a name be if you just stopped using it? You're making it as useless as it can be by not using his name. And he says, don't take the Lord's name in vain, which most people think says, don't say goddamn. Goddamn is it, first of all, God ain't his name. That's a title. Secondly, that's not what it means. It says don't make God meaningless and useless. But that's not actually what the thing said. He basically said, don't make my name meaningless. That was his commandment. And then we are all doing it when we say Jesus. We're all doing it when we say God. Why? Because that's not his name. Imagine going up to the pearly gates, because I could have just saved all your lives. And there's a big dude up there like this. He's standing there all big and buff as shit. And he goes, what's up? You say, what's up? They say, who you here to see? You say, Jesus. And he goes, I don't know who you're talking about. You ever read the scripture where he says, go away, you do not know me? Because if you knew me, you'd know my name. I'm going to walk up, they're going to be like, who you here to see? And I'm going to say, I'm here to see Yahshua. Yeah. My man Yahshua is supposed to meet me here so I can go meet Yahuwah or Yahweh. And if I'm wrong, we're all fucked.
Oh my God. Now, family, as you are aware, so that is the actual name of Jesus. Personally, I've known this for years. It's either Yeshua, right? Yeah. So that is the name of Jesus. And let us remember this. I believe the man has really made a deep research on this fact.
Not living in 2021. It's actually 1724. At least that's what some historians think, and it's pretty crazy. In the 90s, German scientists proposed something called the phantom time hypothesis, which basically says that 300 years of human history is missing. For our modern calendar, most of the world used to use the Julian calendar, in which an extra day was added every 128 years. So when the Gregorian calendar was introduced, there were some discrepancies. To make up for this extra day every 128 years, this calendar should have added 13 days, but it only added 10. Which would mean that 300 years of human history are literally unaccounted for. Which would mean we're actually living in the 18th century.
Oh, family, thank you very much for watching the video. You've been amazing to watch 2 hours with me, watching this amazing creepy TikTok videos that make you think the whole day. Please let me know your thought on all the videos that we've watched. Click on the like button, subscribe so YouTube will recommend this video to so many people out there. And get me encouraged, guys, by clicking on the like button and watching the entire video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.